I've long been fascinated by and studied how we humans mark significant transitions in our lives, how we find meaning in our transformations, both planned and unplanned. It's part of the reason I took a 3-week solo pilgrimage to Southeast Asia 11 years ago, an experience I now see doubled as preparation for menopause. At the time, I was taking a moment to pause between 2 significant stages of my life: the yoga teacher I had been for over a decade, and the author I didn't yet know I was going to become. Outside of my known identity, I felt unmoored and uncomfortable. A perfect time to reflect on who I had been and why, and be very intentional about who I wanted to be going forward and why. Society doesn't offer us a lot of language or support for these in-between times in life, outside of just gritting our teeth and getting through them. I felt the pressure to pull myself together, figure something out. But this time in the middle, it mattered, and I wanted to honor it. We all have these moments in life where we lose the script and have to reimagine our future. Have you ever been thrown off course by divorce, job loss, grief, illness, empty nesting, or just another birthday? At those thresholds, did you feel the pressure to keep marching on and pretend that nothing had changed? Or did you stop to pause and maybe renegotiate your life? On the first morning of my pilgrimage, I sprained my ankle. Talk about a trip buster. I almost gave up, considered buying a ticket right back home. So my second day began with a visit to the local hospital where my doctor, probably reading the look on my face, said to me, "Don't think of this as bad luck. We are glad you are here." That was the shift I needed. I rewrote my itinerary, I slowed it down. I took more time to observe, meditate, participate in local ceremony, and play. And I still got the best views you can only get by climbing hundreds of steep stairs. I just went very slowly. By the time I returned home, I knew the person I'd been was gone, and someone new was emerging. 5 years later, I did emerge, the author of my first book. I don't think such a transformation would have been possible had I not taken this pause. Now here I am in the throes of this life transition called menopause, or among friends, the fiery pits of hell. I'm shifting from the adult that I was, with focus on raising family, building career, and outward achievement, to the kind of elder I hope to become, with more time for sharing wisdom, guidance, mentorship, seeking inner fulfillment, or something else I have yet to discover. Old identities and roles are getting too tight. Meanwhile, my voice, my beliefs, my energy, they're all expanding. Now, I'm not trying to romanticize menopause. I know the realities of standing in front of a freezer in the middle of the night, or suddenly getting frozen shoulder only to learn from friends, not doctors, that this is a possible symptom of menopause. I know the grief of living in a body that feels like it's betraying you. And yet, I see it as more than a set of physical changes. I see how it could be an emotional, psychological, even spiritual initiation from one way of living and being to another. A mind-body rite of passage that fully sees and accepts the struggle, but knows that sometimes, in order for something new to emerge, we have to surrender all that we have become attached to or thought ourselves to be. Menopause is significant. It matters. Symptom-free or full-blown crisis, menopause is asking women, maybe even demanding, that we stop to pause. It is, after all, right in the name. What if we created a pause day movement, built a ceremony around this time of life to make it meaningful, visible, and intentional? It wouldn't have to be a pilgrimage to Southeast Asia, but could it be a pilgrimage of the heart or soul? A renewal of our relationship with our bodies? Here is our chance to reflect on who we have been and be very intentional about who we want to be going forward. Now, men, maybe right about now you're thinking it's a good time to check your phone, but stick with me. This conversation includes you as family, friends, and coworkers. Someone you care about will need the encouragement to pause, reflect, and renegotiate her life at this crucial pivot point. And to make Pause Day a reality, we need you. We all need to come together to raise visibility around menopause. Considering that menopause could last anywhere from 7 to 14 years or more, when would our Pause Day be? Well, did you know that technically menopause marks that one day where a woman hasn't had a period for 1 full year? Everything before that date, including the unwelcome symptoms, is perimenopause. Everything after that date, including the symptoms, is post. That one day in the middle, that's menopause as defined by the medical community. That one day, it's not an ending, not the beginning of a decline, it's a midpoint between 2 stages of life. That's our Pause Day. A day for a new beginning. Now, if you're a woman who doesn't have a period, don't track your period, or you're long past this pause date, choose a date that carries meaning for you. Honor it one time or make an anniversary of it. The list of ways in which a woman could mark her Pause Day is at least as long as the list of symptoms. Of course, Western culture has not taught us that menopause is a rite of passage between 2 stages of life. It has hardly taught us anything at all. A study of nearly 800 women under the age of 40 showed that 80% of them had received little to no information about menopause. 80%. Quick show of hands, women and men, how many fall into that 80%? This is what we're up against. Not just a disappointment, a collective failure. Stigma, silence, lack of information, leaving women enduring alone, just trying to get through it. It doesn't help that Freud famously called menopausal women quarrelsome, vexatious, and overbearing. I Googled vexatious, by the way. It means annoying. Leave it to Freud to essentially liken menopausal women to belligerent, bossy mosquitoes. A female colleague of Freud's suggested that menopause marks the end of a woman's contributions to the species. People may not say such things out loud anymore, but the attitude lingers. Consider even how you felt when I said the word menopause. Did you bristle? Feel that invisible stigma? I appreciate my friends and family who told me I was brave for doing this talk, but why should talking about menopause in public take courage? For that matter, why are we apologizing for our hot flashes? Or not talking with our sexual partners about changes in our libido? Or still not getting information about all possible treatment options? It's time to break the rules, reshape how we go through this passage of menopause. As you go through this transition, are you going to eat or dress the same way? Believe the same beliefs, think the same thoughts, fulfill the same obligations? Or do you feel a calling to a different kind of life? I already know that for me, once my Pause Day comes, I'll be transferring over the responsibilities for preparing holiday meals to my 2 lovely adult daughters. They're here tonight, and this is the first time they're hearing about this. It's time to release obligations and step into desire. Time to claim the part of ourselves that will not care if we are called quarrelsome, vexatious, and overbearing, because we are becoming fierce, wise, and free. Overcoming the stigma, that's the hard part. The rest is easy. We already know how to do ceremony. We do it all the time for our children when they turn 16 or graduate, for our friends and family when they get married, have babies, or retire. Sometimes we even create our own, like my mom, who received a kidney from her sister 29 years ago. Every year, on the anniversary of their surgery date, my aunt wishes my mom a happy birthday. We make life meaningful by giving it meaning through ritual, through ceremony, and intentional language. This is what Pause Day accomplishes. A day to say, I was that, and now I am this. Different, evolved, more whole. One woman's Pause Day could be celebratory and include others, like a picnic under a shady tree. Another woman's could be restorative, like taking some time off work or a retreat. As we're breaking rules, let's not create new ones. All of this can help transform our individual experiences, but what broader shifts might Pause Day help create? Here are 3. Number 1, this could help normalize menopause. Anything that affects half the population for up to a third of our lifetimes should receive funding, should be researched and talked about, yes, even at the dinner table, even in office spaces, and certainly in doctors' offices. Visibility will spark funding, not silence. Normalization will fuel research, not shame. And there's no better time than now with influencers and celebrities like Oprah and Halle Berry talking about menopause in public. There is an open door to change the conversation so we can change the experience. We just have to walk through it. Number 2, this could be a model for younger generations. Imagine young women and girls getting used to, accepting, and expecting menopause because they've been witnessing and learning about it their whole lives. Imagine young people, girls and boys, attending a Pause Day ceremony for their aunt, mom, or family friend, all the while internalizing the idea that this phase of a woman's life is worthy of recognition. What might this do in a culture obsessed with the gifts of youth and fearful, if not disdainful, of the process of aging? Number 3, this could create a culture of elderhood. We see how ceremony helps people better embody new roles and responsibilities. We have also seen what happens when people don't receive those ceremonial gifts. Lost proms, stolen graduations of the pandemic, I had a front row seat to seeing how destabilizing that can be for a young person. No closure, no launching pad. Kids were stuck in limbo. Could this be happening to women in menopause? In many indigenous societies, postmenopausal women are community leaders with considerable power and status. They are elders, sought out for their wisdom, guidance, and ability to ensure that future generations don't make the same mistakes. Pause Day could be one step in creating a culture of elderhood, and you could be one of those to take up the mantle of elder. We can choose to make menopause matter. We can create the Pause Day movement, and when we do, the culture will have no choice but to catch up to us, leading to better funding, research, and options for women today and for our daughters and granddaughters in the future. By changing the narrative around menopause, we ask an even bigger question of the culture. What if we created more dialogue and even ceremony around all kinds of significant pivotal points in life. Not just the easy or celebratory ones, but the ones that change us just the same. Taking my daughters for dinner after their first big breakups so they could reflect and talk about what they'd learned is one of my proudest moments as a mom. Meaning is not inherently built into life. We give life meaning through ceremony, through language, and through honoring the pauses in our lives. We cannot currently imagine our world without the ceremonies that mark significant rites of passage. Perhaps someday we will not be able to imagine our world without pause day ceremonies that bring meaning and intention to the sacred passage of menopause. Thank you.